It just
Yeah.
the Raleigh fingers I have going.
Yeah. We need to have Raleigh on talk about that because it'd be good. Actually, you're frozen up a little bit. Hopefully, we're okay on this. Hey, Fish, we are live now. We're talking Super Bowl run up. We're going to give you our takes, but not our picks just yet. But we will be talking about the coaching carousel. Also, some big news that just broke with the NFL, and also it's a new lawsuit. Plus, we have the Jeff Hodstedler of Daly Fish. Comedian Scott Henry is stepping in. Plus, Scott has some big news about his comedy network. Now, we were supposed to have comedian Gary Muledier on, but unfortunately, he fell and hurt his neck and his back. He wanted to do the show, but we said, no, get better, and we'll have you on another show of Daily Fish. So feel better, Gary Muledier, because I know you might be watching. So anyway, just want to let you know that. Plus, also, we have a little bit of a family celebration to tell you about as well. The Daily Fish Hardline with John Hardison will cover early Super Bowl prop bets, and we'll look at pro and college hoop bets as well. Plus, our schmuck of the week is a failed big screen operator, and who's got the swag is in jeopardy of a big future. And we have binge, blockbuster, and books today, 2 series that you need to look at. All right, hi everybody. Welcome to Daily Fish. John Daly here with Eric Snyder, aka Fish. We are coast to coast, coming to you from Las Vegas and Myrtle Beach. We talk sports, entertainment, and everything in between. We got another good one, number 41 tonight, Fish.
Yeah, it's a pleasure doing it with you, buddy. And the fact that we have a special guest at the end is it makes this episode probably the most treasured. And John, have you ever seen more drama in the NFL that's not involving the games before the Super Bowl? It's crazy. It's it's nuts.
It's crazy stuff. We're going to talk about a lot of that too. All right, it's time now for the daily grind. Here's what we're grinding on. First, we're going to get to the Bengals and Rams with Hardline a little later, but what about player movements and deals on the field and also behind the mics? Fish, give us your top ones.
Well, Sean Payton just retired as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. And by the way, I just watched the movie Home Team on Netflix that Kevin James plays Sean Payton. It's about when he got suspended.
Yeah.
Horrible. I always say great things. Horrible.
Oh.
How does Kevin James get casted as Sean Payton? Kevin James looks like a different kid. He's just forget it. Sean Payton retires from the NFL, right? And he's doing it because he wants to go to TV. Troy Aikman's contract is up at Fox. Rumor has it that he's going to step in that role, and Aikman's going to go to Amazon, which is going to cover the Thursday night games this upcoming season. Follow me on this train. Okay. Payton's contract is going to be somewhere in between $12 and $15 million. What makes him the second highest paid broadcaster in the NFL, next to Tony Romo, who got a bump up to $20 million. Why I'm saying this is there's a chasm. A lot of guys like Al Michaels, now you're a broadcaster. Imagine, okay, you have a show called Real TV, you get 4 million viewers, you're making a ton of money, and then they bring in this ingenue named Ahmad Rashad, takes all your swag away, and gets probably more money. It stinks. Now listen to this as the train goes farther to caboose. Tom Brady retired, official today in the NFL. There's rumors he wants to get into the broadcast booth.
Yeah.
I'm also hearing right now, if Tom Brady wants that job at CBS with Jim Nantz because they're tight friends, they're going to pay him in the excess of $21 million, $25 million. You follow me? And they're going to bump Tony Romo down to the second team, which is either Ian Eagle or it's Greg Gumbel. So keep an eye on the hot stove of the microphones.
Well, and it makes sense because guess where a lot of the money comes from that supports the NFL? It comes from broadcasting, comes from the advertising rights. So you want to have some good broadcasters on it. I think Brady would be great. And again, I like Romo. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I also think Sean Payton would be super on there. So I'm looking forward to it. We're going to definitely watch that. All right. Next, some breaking coaching news in the NFL aside from Sean Payton. And this is not a hire; it's a lawsuit. We're going to hit that in a second. But also the Bears hire Matt Eberflus as head coach, and the Broncos go with Nathaniel Hackett. This is hot stove NFL. It is simmering now. So, Fish, 3 things there for you to touch on. Go ahead. What's coaching spice are you cooking on for us?
Well, Josh McDaniels just got hired yesterday as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And according to Good Morning Football, he's a top hire out there. I have my reservation about it, but I'm all in. After listening to this press conference, I'm all good. Jim Harbaugh could pick in between the Miami Dolphins, which we'll talk about in a minute, and the Minnesota Vikings. And tomorrow he's going to meet with Ziggy Wolf, who's the owner of the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, here's the one that really intrigues me. And, of course, I'm a big fan of young coaches getting a chance, especially the young African-American coaches. If Josh McCown, and this is no degradation to Josh McCown, he's a good guy. If he gets a job as a head coach of the Houston Texans without a day ever of being an assistant coach or a coach, something's fishy going on. No pun intended. Okay. So we have the jobs opening up right now with the Saints. Jacksonville is all over the place. They just did Rich Bisaccia yesterday. They're bringing Doug Peterson, ex coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, in for a second interview. So you have all these dominoes falling right now, but I'm not seeing the younger guys. It's a lot of retreads that are getting hired. And you want to tell everyone what's going on with the breaking news about Brian Flores today?
Yeah, Brian Flores has filed a lawsuit against a number of teams in the NFL claiming racism as far as hiring goes. And again, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but give me your first reaction to this, Fish.
Well, the lawsuit includes 3 teams: the Giants, the Broncos, and the Dolphins. And he claims in the lawsuit that Stephen Ross was going to pay him $100,000 a game in 2019 to tank so he can get the number 1 pick. Real tough allegations right there.
Yeah.
The Giants did hire Brian Daboll. It makes sense. Joe Shane, who's their new general manager, comes from Buffalo. He takes Daboll, who just did a great job with Josh Allen. So if you follow the trees right there, that makes sense. Okay. I don't know what Flores is doing right now because maybe it's the ego. I don't know what. He's a great young head coach. And again, when John Gruden sued the NFL, okay, and they said, look, all your other emails are going to come out, he knows he's not going to coach again in the NFL. Is this coaching suicide for Brian Flores? And we'll ask Scott Henry and we'll ask Hardline later on in the show.
All right. We'll definitely do that. Again, more talking about that. Next, a little bit of tennis. Rafi gets major number 21 down under, leaving Federer and Djokovic at 20 and holding. Fish, let's talk about this legacy and what it means for tennis.
Hey, Hardline, if you're in the queue, remember we were watching this together, that great 5-set match between Rafi and Medvedev? It was phenomenal. What it means for tennis is Djokovic and Federer each have 20, and Rafi hits 21. Okay? And John McEnroe pleads to everyone that would listen, why aren't there more American tennis players on the men's side? The women's side is brilliant. You got Sloane Stephens, Coco Gauff. The Williams sisters are the epitome of tennis, class acts, and their legacy is cemented as Hall of Famers. But where's the young guys, John? We have young. I know it takes forever. I want your take on this, John. It takes forever. You got to practice tennis like golf, and for whatever reason, we have young American kids playing golf. Like it's not American. It's an American sport as much as any. But tennis is an American sport. Where are the American kids that can compete? Because there's none out there.
Yeah, they're either playing soccer or they're on their iPhones. That's
Right.
the only thing I can think of. And
Right.
tennis has turned into kind of a rich person sport, kind of like golf. So you may only have a few, but at the same time, too, look at the Williams sisters. So I don't know. It's something we definitely need to explore more often and ask that question. I agree with McEnroe. You would think there'd be more American superstars out there. All right, cool. Hey, it's almost 2 years since we lost Kobe Bryant in that horrible helicopter crash. Still, Kobe's Mamba mentality has still tremendous impact. Fish, you talk about this. Raiders quarterback Derek Carr still refers to Kobe's inspiration. But his legacy is continuing on for so many. Talk about that.
Well, because what he meant, you could think that maybe he was a little arrogant on the court and he was tough to deal with, but he approached the game like Michael Jordan did, like Tom Brady does, like the greats, that he would quiz players, and he demanded such a level of excellence that if you didn't meet that, if you're Gary Payton, remember when they signed Gary Payton and Karl Malone, that 1 year, Hardison knows about that. Guys came to practice a little lackluster, threw them out, get out. Okay. So it was the way he approached it. Then when he gets off the court, and he was so humble, he had so much philanthropy going on that he didn't want anyone to know about it. Some athletes, I won't mention names, when they ever do philanthropy, it's all on Twitter, it's on social media. They make sure it's a commercial about it, and all the networks know about it. Not Kobe. Whatever Kobe did for people, stay between Kobe and the organization. But again, the fact that he approached his sport was such a determination to win and practice hard, and that's how. And then Mamba mentality is how you should approach life. If you work hard, you practice hard at what you do, maybe you can sell a podcast.
Well, there you go. Well, we'll do a little toast to Kobe a little later as well. All right, Fish, and finally on the grind, we're raising issues that we wanted to bring up for you that maybe you hadn't heard about. And hear about this. Clinics and camps are in the process of starting up to teach young girls the art of UFC combat. So it seems you can actually send your little angel to learn how to bloody up others. Fish, your thoughts on that? What are you thinking?
Well, I brought up to you when we were talking about the week, what do you want to put in the grind? And I said, it's amazing that I was talking to a couple of Chucks, and they said there's a camp opening up next year. We could send our 15-year-old daughter, Rhonda, to learn how to be a UFC fighter. And I went to make a couple of drinks, and I put them down, looked at myself, I said, I was raised in my generation and yours that women are flowers, and you're a gentleman. You open a door for them. I love boxing. I'm not a big fan of the UFC. I don't dislike it. But I've watched a couple of women's bouts, and they're knocking the crap out of each other, and they're all bloody. It's not what I want to see. And the fact that there's a market for this, and you're willing as a parent to send your 15-year-old kid, I don't know if I'm all in on that. You?
Well, and I'm like you. Like I want to see exactly what's going on at these camps. If they're kind of toughening up kids, getting them in shape mentally and physically, all right, I'm for that. If they are starting to teach them to attack each other and causing head injuries, I got a little bit of a problem with that. Now, to be honest with you, really, some of the best workouts that I've done are boxing workouts. So again, if you're trying to increase the mind and increase the body, not tear it down, I'm okay with that. I want to see what it is first. So also, if you're watching and you have more insight into this, please let us know. Drop us a line at dalyfish1@gmail.com. So that is the Daily Grind. Questions or comments during the live show here? Again, use the chat box. Just as I was saying, tell us what you want us to grind on. Email us at dalyfish1@gmail.com. You can post to Facebook at daily.fish.5. Better yet, record yourself tight, short, and horizontal on your smartphone and send it to us. All right, it's time now for Binge, Blockbusters, and Books. Fish, what are you binging?
I'm binging the first 7 episodes of the 4th and final season of Ozark on Netflix. Jason Bateman, Laura Linney. It's a little storyline behind what the show's about is the Bird family, and Marty Bird, played by Jason Bateman, is a money management guru in Chicago, and he has a big firm. He doesn't realize his partner is laundering money for the biggest Mexican cartel in the world, right? So when he does something wrong and he loses some money, they come up and I'm not gonna say they kill him. I can say that, and they make Marty take his family down to the Ozarks down there to run businesses because he thinks we're all Appalachian idiots, and it's how he has to open casinos and deal with a real uppity Chicago family dealing with the rednecks, and it's phenomenal.
It's a great series. It really is. Yeah, I have not gotten a chance to get into the last season, but I definitely will. Fish, I have started Promised Land. That's on ABC. It's a new series about a Latino family running a vineyard in Northern California with a lot of fight for wealth and power. And so far, I watched a couple episodes. So far, so good. It's good tension. Plus, I always want to drink a glass of wine while I'm watching it. Promised Land is on ABC, and that is Binge, Blockbusters, and Books for today. Now, something fishy about the internet and social media and sports.
Yeah, this is where I get pissed off.
Okay, good. Go for it.
Terry in the queue, hardline. I'm a junkie for football. I'm a Raider junkie. So I go on every blog there can be, every social media page on Facebook. I go to all the Raider sites, right? And I'm known on some as Mad Max. I'm maybe known as Fish. I've been banned from 7 or 8 of them just this week. I'm out. You know why? Because Raider fans, and I'm the biggest one on the planet, we're talking about what a choke artist Patrick Mahomes is and that the Chiefs dynasty is over. And I said one comment that got me banned. This is what it was, guys, girls. I said, if Andy Reid called Josh McDaniels right now and said, I want to trade you Patrick Mahomes for Derek Carr straight up, McDaniels takes his other hand, gets a burner phone, and he's texting Derek Carr's agent and says, have Derek pack his bags. Okay, I don't understand fan bases that you have to trash talk everybody. I know I'm old school, but Mahomes had one bad half of a game against a team that might be a team of destiny in the Bengals. You see it all the time. You see it all sports. I go on the Yankees, and they're talking about the Red Sox. Big Papi doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Bullshit, he does. A-Rod should be in the Hall of Fame. Well, A-Rod, it doesn't matter. Quit trash talking your rivals unless you have facts to back it up. because I promise you this: as much as I can't stand the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes could probably go to maybe 29 to 32 teams right now on one phone call. All right. So I think it's fishy that, not fishy like I kicked out of seven sites.
Oh, no.
But I don't get it, John. I mean, do you understand where I'm coming from with this?
Absolutely. And, the knee-jerk reaction, that's social media is great because it connects you with a lot of people, but it also allows you to think you can say and do things that you normally wouldn't say or do face-to-face with a person. So I think you're absolutely right. I think you kind of try to show a little kindness. Don't be afraid to give your opinion, but also realize that your opinion isn't the only one that's out there. So absolutely.
And we have Raider hierarchy watching this. I'm a big Derek Carr guy. I hope he stays with the team.
Sure.
But sorry, Raider hierarchy. If you have a chance to get Patrick Mahomes on a straight-up trade, you do it.
There you go. All right. That is something fishy. And still ahead, we have our Schmuck of the Week along with Who's Got the Swag. But now it is time for the Daly Fish Hardlines. Joining us is John Hardison from the podcast Cost of Winning, focusing on fantasy sports and sports betting. Hardline, welcome back to the show. Talk briefly about this past weekend and betting and how it came about and what you thought about those great championship games.
A lot of great championship games, a lot of unders, surprisingly. I thought it would be a little bit more of over, especially the Kansas City Chiefs game or Kansas City Chiefs game and Cincinnati Bengals. I thought for sure that was going to go over. Like I told you guys, I thought that was going to be the best game of the weekend. And to me, out of the two that they were, obviously was the best. Didn't think that the Cincinnati Bengals would win, but I most definitely thought that they were going to cover. So if you took them on the points, you had a great day.
Oh, it was great. And guys, we have to admit, the last 2 weekends of football, I agree with Peter King, Sports Illustrated, and Good Morning Football. The best 2 weekends probably in the history of the NFL. And so I want to get into. You guys agree with that, John?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Drama, yeah. I want to get into this, and we'll get into more. We'll do explore. Prop bets become huge during the Super Bowl, okay? And they start to formulate right now, okay? My brother's business associate, his lawyer associate, only bets prop bets the whole year. And last year, put $5,000 down on 50 to 1 that the Chiefs wouldn't score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs have scored the Chiefs have scored a touchdown in 44 straight games. He won. He ended up coming out $12,000 ahead because he's a big gambler, because he bet stupid shit like the coin toss and, if this guy's wearing underwear or not. So, John, give us, until we go through the big prop bets, we'll get to the next one. Give me the what prop bets would you look at for a Super Bowl?
So when I look at prop bets, I tend to look at kind of what people have done throughout the season. That's a little bit consistent. I also look to see like what the last Super Bowls have entailed. One prop bet that especially is out there is Super Bowl MVP. 9 out of the last 12 Super Bowl MVPs have been quarterback. There's been 2 defensive players in Von Miller and Malcolm Smith and 1 wide receiver. So you could take the chance that's Cooper Kupp. He's right now plus 700, but the likelihood of him coming through with it probably is low. If you're going to hedge, you're probably better off betting Joe Burrow or Matt Stafford as your Super Bowl MVP, just looking at the history of things that have come. And also I kind of look to see what the trend is, what the book has right now, what they're looking at, what's favorite, what's not. One that was kind of really interesting to me, especially this year, they have over 4.5 sacks total for the game at minus 165, which is huge. Usually you don't see that many sacks. So I got to believe they're leaning really heavily on what the Rams defense has been able to do. And another one that I think is a surefire bet to me, especially looking at what happened last week in that San Francisco game, Matt Stafford throws at least 1 interception. Yes is minus 150, and he almost gave away 2 last week. He almost cost the game on that one.
Wow. I was reading one article about betting the refs in the Super Bowl, what their records are with favorites or dogs. Is that something you'd look at?
I most definitely. You want to look at who's reffing the game. It's kind of just like basketball, right? Like there's some refs that they'll let a shot go underneath the rim and you give a shot back and it's okay. And it's kind of the same thing with football. You want to see kind of how people officiate that game. Do they call a lot of pass interference penalties? Do they let people get back, against neutral zone infractions? You want to look at that. And you also want to look to see, what is their, I hate saying it, but what is their replay efficiency? Do they tend to overturn calls or do they tend to stand with what's on the field? And that can make a difference in the game. I mean, last week Sean McVay, which I thought were two stupid challenges, I'll be very honest, threw the flag twice and didn't get anything. And that might be how that ref tends to go. Look, whatever's on the field, that's what I go with my guys. We're not overturning too much unless it's inconclusive.
Yeah, you're right. And then, of course, we'll get more to the Super Bowl next week. This is the week for the Pro. No one bets a Pro Bowl anyway, so don't worry about it.
You mean flag football?
Yeah, it's brutal. It's wow. It's funny. Real quick before we get with you, Chris Carter today made a great story. John, both Johns. He said that the greatest player in the history of the NFL, because Tom Brady retired, is still Jerry Rice. The real quick, the Niners beat the Chargers in the '94 Super Bowl, and back then the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowl, right? Jerry Rice shows up at the Pro Bowl with a separated shoulder and did everything he could to play in the game. That would never happen nowadays.
No.
Never.
No.
It just wouldn't happen. So to segue, college hoops. Any trends, anything hitting you? Do you see a team right now that's going to get hot or stay hot, like the Providence Friars or my Texas Longhorns? What do you like?
Keep your eye on Memphis as they get a lot of their players back. They've been injured quite a bit this season. I still like them in the conference tournament. Middle Tennessee is a team right now that I find is really good. They're covering 82% of the time in the games that they play, and Murray State as well. I mean, those are two teams that I would tell people, if you're betting, definitely keep your eye on. And Bowling Green State University has been covering as well. So those are three teams I tell people right now, if you're going to bet, you could most definitely take them on winning against that spread.
Hey, I'm seeing a lot about some prop bets about the Sixers finally trading Simmons. Are you hearing anything, and would you advise for or against that?
I would go against it right now. I think that the 76ers are very content keeping Ben Simmons until the offseason. And again, you look at the 76ers right now, they're not doing bad. They're most definitely in the tops for a top 4 seed and not having to be in that playoff playing game for the NBA. Right now, I don't think Daryl Morey has any incentive to trade Ben Simmons. A lot of teams have been inquiring, especially Sacramento Kings. I know they've offered it first, and Daryl Morey has said that's not enough to get rid of a person that was an all-star. I don't think he's going to go to the Trailblazers right now. They're trying to figure out where they are. Unfortunately, they're in the worst spot that you can be in any professional sports, which is in the middle. You're not bad enough to just go ahead and tank everything, but you're not good enough to win it all either. And I think they're talking to Damian Lillard and seeing what he feels. And even if they make this trade for Ben Simmons, I think the biggest question you have to ask is, can you keep Damian Lillard long-term and keep him happy? And I don't think that with the Simmons trade, that's the answer, to be honest, for what they have to give up for him. So I would advise against betting that he gets pushed at the trade deadline. I think they'll keep him until the end of the year. And I think Daryl Morey is trying to make an example of him.
Hey, we had Matt Gavin on here on the Real TV show. I don't know if you remember that Hardline, but he was telling me today that that he would go to Vegas. He'd fly from LA to Vegas with his brother right before the football season and look at the prop bets at the beginning of the football season. He said he remembered the one on the Bengals was 6,600 to 1.
What?
It's insane. I mean, there is a lot of people. Everybody does this at the beginning of every year. You pick a team or two that you think, maybe your dark horse. You put some money on just to see what happens. I remember, and I'll give this story. Was it about 6 years ago now? I walked into Palace Station. I put $10 on the Falcons to win the NFC Championship. Hot damn, I hit it. So the next year I say, Carolina's going to do it. I think the division's shit. Throw another 10 on there. And boy, shit, howdy, I hit again. So everybody keeps looking at me. Who's going to win next year? I said, shit. I said, I can't tell you that. I said, lightning strikes twice, but it doesn't do it 3 times in a damn row. So if you're from Cincinnati and you took a long shot on betting your team, congratulations to you. You kicked everybody's ass.
I got what? Shit, howdy? Wow, I love that. I've never heard that one before. Hey, listen, I'm born. If everyone doesn't know this by now, I'm born and raised in LA, and LA just went to the Super Bowl Sunday. John Daly and John Hardison. Monday's paper, okay, front page before the buy. The top story for the buy. How do we fix the Lakers? It's a Laker and Dodger town. The Lakers. I'm serious. My brother says, "Can you believe this shit?"
Well, I mean, they never left.
Look, my point, there was 35,000 49ers there, 49er fans there. You saw them in the stands. My question to you, Hardline, The Lakers are 24-27 as of this live broadcast, and they're going crazy in LA talking about break the team up, this, that. Russell Westbrook is crap, and they can't get out Carmelo Anthony. I say relax. There's still time. I know they're a game out of the playoffs. They're the ninth seed right now. I see them making the playoffs. Do you?
I think they'll back into the playoffs. Do I think they make it past the first round? Probably not. I mean, the Western Conference, the top three seeds are pretty much locked. They're pretty strong. When you consider Phoenix, the Warriors, and I believe Denver as well might be three. It's pretty solid in that. But do I think that you break up the band? I don't necessarily know, right now. I think you look at, what your contracts are like after this offseason and you go. But I mean, look, to everyone that is a Lakers fan, you open a geriatric home. Like, what did you expect? You don't get mad when the hip finally breaks and they've been sliding on ice. This is kind of what you expected.
Shit howdy.
Yeah, I think that's good. So hardline, I think the Lakers should just secede to the East Coast Division and just play in the East Conference there. That would probably be the only way they're going to get into the playoffs, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, as long as you're better than the Clippers, you're still winning LA, so it's not really that tough. Yeah.
All right, and that is the Daly Fish Hardline with John Hardison of the Cost of Winning podcast. You can find him here with us, but also on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. John, stick around because you're going to be on here with Scott Henry. We're all going to talk together. We're going to talk about what went on this last couple of weekends and have a little fun. Can you be as funny as Scott Henry?
I can't be as funny as Scott, but if you give me a mallet and a watermelon, I could be Gallagher 3. That's about,
Okay, we'll definitely do that. All right. And we'll see you in a little bit. All right, thanks for tuning in, folks. Daly Fish is live on Facebook Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. Pacific. You can see us on Facebook, the Myrtle Beach Golf Channel and Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. We air on DBNA Television on Roku and Amazon Fire. We stream 24/7 on the DBA Television website. Follow us and like us on Facebook at daily.fish.5 and subscribe on YouTube. All right, now it's time for our Schmuck of the Week. Who's been schmucky this week, Fish?
Oh, my God. Check this out. What's that? The Schmuck of the Week. There's our icon. Okay. This is the Jumbotron. This is the Jumbotron at SoFi over the weekend because, they have to go through all the stars and went through Leonardo DiCaprio and Cedric the Entertainer and all the Kings players that were there. Check out these two. Does that look like? I don't even know who those people are, but they're not Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. I think the girl to the left or on my screen to the right of him, that's Brandy. Okay, the singer Brandy. It looks like Brandy. But look at everyone looking in the background, laughing their asses off, because that's not Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. I'm just telling you, it's not. So whoever runs a Jumbotron at SoFi, get it right. And if you're going to put it up there, just put Daly and Fish on there and see if maybe get a little swag.
There you go. All right. Let's see now who's got the swag. Who are we toasting, Fish?
Hang on, my computer's going a little slow today, buddy.
Oh my God, slow. You're buffering a little bit there.
Yeah, well, we have internet problems everywhere. You got the swag? Can you see the swag on there?
Yep, got it.
Right.
Yep.
This is great. This is Amy Schneider. Not Schneider. She is the winningest champion on Jeopardy. And you know what? God bless her. She represents the trans community. So I think it's great, that she's a winningest person. I don't know if she's won more than Ken Jennings, but it's good to see that she's representing a community that obviously, that needs more attention. What do you think?
I agree with you 100%. And there's a good chance she could be I'm just checking to make sure Scott's in there. There's a good chance she could be the host. She could be the host of Jeopardy. So they're talking about that. So let's see. So
Right.
yeah, I agree. And now we're going to toast her with our drink of the week. Fish, I know you can't drink because you're working tonight. So
Well, I have to be real. Yeah. This is the Moscow Mule because Gary Mule Deer is supposed to be on. But, hey, get better, Gary. But this is basically what it really is. It's vodka and ginger beer. You put a lime in there. What's really big is the Irish. You put what do you have in yours, John? Do you have Irish whiskey?
I don't. No. I went straight Moscow Mule, and like you said, ginger beer, squeeze of lime, a little sprig of mint is always really good. And if you think about it, there's a little bit of history. It's really interesting, Fish. You being a bartender in LA, growing up there, John Martin claimed that he invented the Moscow Mule along with his friend Jack Morgan, who is the owner of the old English style pub named the Cock and Bull, which was located on Sunset Strip, the Hollywood Sunset Strip there. That was back in 1948. And what they were trying to do is they were trying to promote the Smirnoff brand of vodka, which was just bought by Hubline Corporation. And that's how they came up with it. So everybody thinks it has something to do with Russia. It doesn't. It's Smirnoff vodka. So there you have it. So here's a toast to our swag this week.
Amy Schneider and Gary Mule Deer.
And to Mule Deer, definitely. Oh, that is good. All right. All right. Drink of the week is brought to us by Shucks Tavern. If you're in Vegas, great seafood and drinks in 2 locations. Head to Shucks Tavern on North Durango, on the northwest side of town where Fish is overnight. The Daly Fish podcast. You get a free drink. You can do it tonight too. Do it the next day, a free appetizer at Shucks Tavern. Check out Shucks Tavern on Facebook. All right, we're just getting started. Up next, we're going to gab with comedian Scott Henry. But first, let's tell you about MedSonics. Heading to Vegas, first place to stop is MedSonics. The sound wave technology relieves pain, inflammation, even jet lag. It's non-invasive. You sit there for 25 minutes and relax. The technology will soon be all over the country. Go to medsonics.com, spelled MEDSONIX, medsonics.com. Al is the owner inventor. Tell him Daly Fish sent you. All right, let's bring on comedian Scott Henry. He's been with us before. He's a great friend of the show, and he's about ready to launch something pretty big that he's going to tell us about. Hey, Scott, welcome back, buddy, and thanks for jumping on board. Thanks for coming. I called you the Hostetler of Daly Fish because you jumped in the Super Bowl and won.
I'll take it. Hey, you know what? It's either that or Frank Reich. I don't know which one I want to go with. You know what I mean? The greatest comeback ever, right? Didn't Frank Reich do that for the Bills?
Yep.
Yeah.
He did. He had the greatest comeback in the game against, was it the Oilers?
I think it was the Oilers, yeah.
The Oilers, 1992 playoffs. They're down 35-3 at halftime, and he brought them all the way back, and it was great. I have a question for you, Scott.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you ever been in a threesome? Did you hear me? Oh, you just got
I'm not answering that question.
When the last time you were on and you said your nephew said that, I got more time. I was on the ground. My wife was on the floor, and she walked into the other room and you were laughing. That was so great. So
the funny thing was my mom, I don't know that my mom knew what that even was. But my sister and everybody reacted to me. So it was so funny by saying no. You talk about guilt by association or guilt by denial, like taking the fifth there. Forget it. I was guilty as charged.
Classic.
Perfect.
So, hey, I'm so sad that Gary couldn't be here, but I'm glad to be able to be here for him. He is one of my favorite comedians, and that guy is so funny and so subtle and so simple. I tell so many of his jokes, like off stage. The one about the Denny's. He goes, I took my dad to Denny's, and he goes, as we walked out, I said to the manager, my compliments to the photographer. Oh my gosh. Hi, baby. Thank you. So I don't have a drink. I'm going with water tonight because I just came off of a boondoggle out at Greenbrier in West Virginia with some friends watching the games that were Bengal fans.
Nice.
Wow. Hey, let's bring in the hard line here because we want to talk football there. Hardison, say hello to Scott Henry.
Scott, how you doing tonight?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
Good. Pleasure to meet you, my man.
Same.
Super. So Scott, we'll let you jump off. Give us your impressions of the of Sunday's big games.
Man, first of all, this whole year, I know people said last weekend was an amazing. This whole year, if you were to look at the Thursday night games, the Monday night games, the Sunday night games, there were so many games that came down to the wire or were just great. Parody's awesome. I'm sorry. It just is. Yeah. Watching, I'm so glad the 49ers lost. I just want to say that. And I'm happy for Matthew Stafford. I love Matthew Stafford. That guy played in Detroit, which is a death sentence. And He played in Detroit forever, never whined, never bitched about anything. Was just a great dude, and he deserved this. And so, and I'm happy for the Rams that they picked OBJ because they wanted to win the Super Bowl. The Packers did not want to win the Super Bowl, so what they decided to do was nothing, and that's exactly what they did. Nothing. They had Devontae Adams, and that's all they had. I would have loved to have seen the footage of the game that was not just focused on where the ball was going. I would have liked to have seen if any of those receivers were open at all that he wasn't throwing to. You know what I mean? Like, did he trust any of them? But I'm happy for the Rams. Hey, they went and got OBJ. They went and got 40, and now they're there. So, and how bad does the 49er feel that dropped that interception? Can you think, wow, dude, we've all had bad days. But there's that. Yep. And I love Joe. I love Joe Burrow. And I love that he wore the Wayne the Rock turtleneck with the chain. Did you see that? Because remember Wayne the Rock won his original picture, but he had the chain and everything. This kid, it looks like Macaulay Culkin, but he's dressing like a pimp. You know what I mean? He's hysterical. So I'm happy for the city of Cincinnati. I have friends that are just off their rocker right now because I live in Lexington, Kentucky. So I'm happy for them, and my friends were real fired up. So it's football is amazing. It's alive and well.
Talk about your buddy who makes all the Bengals T-shirts.
Oh, so Josh Sneed is his name, and it's Cincy T-shirts, and so everybody sold out of T-shirts, right? So they are 24 hours a day now. He sent me a picture of his warehouse and his offices and everything. Shirts are stacked up all over, and his problems just got worse on Sunday. So, but that's a good problem to have. I know he's excited. So it's going to be a fun Super Bowl to see two teams that just haven't been there in a minute. And so, I know the Rams been there, 5 or 6 years ago, but did they really show up? Were they there? They played the Patriots so terribly. I wonder how Jared Goff feels today. That's what I want to know.
I mean, I got to ask Scott, where are you from?
Jump in there, Hardison. He's bagging your Detroit. This is guys from Detroit, Scott. So he's bagging on the team, man.
So Scott, where are you from originally?
Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh shit, you know about winning already. You're a Packers fan. Damn you to hell. So literally, I'm watching the game on Sunday, and I see the ball hit the 49ers receiver in the chest, or the corner in the chest, and all I could say is, God damn it, it's Detroit all over again. All I could sit there is just look at it, and I was like, please. I was like, let me have some little bit of happiness. I know, when it rains, there's got to be a rainbow, but something's got to come out of this damn tsunami that I've been in as a Lions fan for all these years.
I hope you are. It's, there's a friend of mine that is a Lions fan, and every once in a while, when they beat the Packers this year, I sent him a, like, hey, I'm so happy for you. One of those. But I really do hope their fans, like Buffalo's fans, I was heartbroken for their fans. The guy drives them down, 13 seconds left, and they can't stop him. I mean, Buffalo fans, those between you and the Lions, you guys have been beaten down. My friend Dwayne Perkins has a great joke about the shirts and the hats that get worn immediately after the game is over, right? Yeah. And, NFC champions or whatever. And he goes, well, they made shirts for the other side too. He goes, and then they get shipped off to like some third world country to donate clothing to them. And he goes, somewhere in Africa, they thought the Buffalo Bills were a fucking juggernaut, dude.
I've always wondered that.
Yeah, it's funny you saw that. I'm not guys, I want those all three of Daly included. I'm not a next year guy. Hardison and I have had that conversation in the bar many times. I cannot stand the media right now, Scott Henry, John Hardison. I want your first takes on this. Oh, Joe Burrow will be back to the Super Bowl many times. This is the first of many. Ask Dan Marino how many Super Bowls he went to. In his second year, he went to a Super Bowl. So I love the story of Cincinnati. I'm from LA. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna take a lot of the drama out of it. I'm picking the Rams to win this game. But don't you agree that there's no next year, that you got to win now?
Now.
You got to win now, but it depends on the organization, right? Like, I know, like, I guess like Green Bay says like every year is our year, right? And like Dallas says every year is our year, but it never really happens. But I think you give yourself a good shot depending on what your organization is. But one like Cleveland or like Cincinnati or even Detroit, I think you're right, Fish. Like you get one shot at this, so you got to execute it. And if you don't, it might be another 20, 30 years before you get there.
How many times do you hear these guys say that? Aaron Rodgers and he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever.
Yeah.
He's just a victim of terrible general managers. You know what I mean? They passed over TJ Watt for Kevin. I can't even say his fucking name. Kevin King. Anyway, He cost them the NFC Championship game last year by letting Scotty, what's his name? Scotty Wilson. Is that his name? From Tampa Bay. Scotty Miller. Go running by him on the last play of the. So, they wouldn't, again, what's his name? The general manager that I had there for years. I'll think of it in a second, but he would not go out. Yeah. He would not go out and get free agents for Rodgers. He would not do. That's what I always loved about Belichick. He would wait until halfway through the year. He'd go, all right, who sucks and who do I need? And he gets rid of that guy, goes, buys that guy, puts him in, inserts in the system, and they win the Super Bowl. The Packers refuse to do that. That's why, Joe, they have to do it this year. This is it. And look at the Rams. I mean, where are they going to go after this? They're not going to have a team next year, basically, right?
No salary cap. I mean, they have no salary cap. They have no first and second round draft pick. One addendum. We talked about coaches earlier. I want to get your take on some of this coaching stuff going on, Hardline and Scott. But Mark Davis hires Josh McDaniels, right? And they're walking as they're going to the press conference. He doesn't even recognize him, and Josh McDaniels walks up to Davis and goes, "Mr. Davis, it was a fumble." How cool is that? About the Tuck rule? And then Davis talked about that in the press conference yesterday. And it's good to know you have guys that have sense of humor. But Scott, what's your take on the whole thing? Are you familiar with what's going on with Brian Flores right now? Not to make it a little bit more serious, that he's now suing 3 teams in the league, and including the National Football League over racist charges, and he's accusing the Dolphins of that he was being, he was asked to throw games and tank for $100,000 a game. I mean, this sounds like something that happened during Boardwalk Empire.
Hey, listen, when there's that much money on the line, of course there's stuff like this. But, John, you told me that today, and we just came back, so I was taking care of my child and have a chance to look too much into it. But what I think when it comes to whether, he's suing the NFL for racism, I couldn't possibly even comment on that because I have no idea. I mean, all I heard was that him and the general manager didn't like each other, and that's all I really knew about it. You know what I mean? So, I'm not really sure. The guy seemed like a good coach. I don't know how you win, how many of the last, 7 of the last 8 games or something. They go, hey, we'll see you later. We'd rather lose.
Good coach. Yeah. Good coach.
He's a solid coach. I mean, look, at this point, in the NFL, there's 3 organizations and 3 heads that have kind of done some questionable things. But the top 2 to me is Dan Snyder and it's Joe and Stephen Ross. And this isn't the first situation that Stephen Ross has gotten into, or the Dolphins organization. And then we get into this situation that's right here. And you look at Dan Snyder with everything that's going on right now. There's rules in places for a reason. Again, these are all, allegations right now. We'll see once we get into more of the into the legal proceedings. But, if it's true, there are some organizations that have been out here that have hired their head coaches before they've conducted the process, and the NFL's had to come back and be like, you can't do that. So you're offering a guy basically an interview knowing that there's no way in hell I'm ever going to get the job. You know what I mean? Like it's a sham. And that was one of the things that he put is like, there's been some sham interviews, and it's true. You can't tell me, hey, my cousin's got the contract, for the garbage, everything around here. But then you're going to tell me, well, maybe you got a chance. You already hired him. It's a waste.
But wait a minute, man. I have a black friend.
I got a white one.
I can't be racist. I have a black friend. What are you talking about? Oh my gosh. I want to hear more about what all happened with Gruden and all that stuff. I want to see some more of those emails. I want to find out a lot of that stuff.
You're going to find out. February 23rd is a trial. And Gruden's lawyer said if you go up against NFL, the emails that are accumulated from 2018 on will be released. He said, I don't care. I want justice. I'm looking to see whether he settles or not. I think he's not. I think his ego's so big. He knows he's not going to coach anymore. So again, we said during the beginning of the show, there's more drama going on before the Super Bowl with coaches, with lawsuits, with Tom Brady retiring. I want to bring that up to you guys. Hardline will go first. I'll go all three of you guys. Hardline will go Scott and then Daly. Hardline, what does Tom Brady mean to you?
Questionable is always the question that comes to my mind about Brady. Sure. The network reported that he retired. Then his dad said, no, he didn't retire. Then he said, I got to think about some things. I don't know if I'm retiring. Then today he then he retired. Everything's questionable, from retirement to the weight of the balls to did the damn fall slip out. Everything is questionable about him. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot. Winner is the second thing that comes to my mind. But, at the end of the day, there's always something interesting about Tom. And you and I had this conversation on Saturday. I said, I think Tom's going to broadcasting. Everybody kind of was questioning it. And I said, he's the ultimate broadcaster in the sense of it's similar to John Madden. Are you really going to question if Tom Brady even fucks up and says the wrong thing? He's got 7 Super Bowls. Who's going to teach you any better?
Yeah, I have to agree with that. That guy's done. It's funny. They showed that there's a couple really, so many impressive things about Tom, but there's 2 things that I want to bring up. When they showed Tom the picture of him when he was a rookie, and then next year, 3 years later, 4 years later, the guy got better looking. The guy got better looking as he got old, and he looked younger. And then he was able to leave a pregnant supermodel for another supermodel and get away with it. You think, yo, dude, can you imagine? He's the only player that gets away with that. But in all seriousness, the guy, as many times as when he dropped back, we yelled for a defensive lineman to crush that mother. They never did. And even when they did, the guy was able to do it for this long. And it's not like he's leaving because they're like Roethlisberger couldn't throw the ball 15 yards.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? This guy just did it. He's a one-off.
What did they have? They had a stat, and they said you could break his career down into 3 different Hall of Fame careers from from the first set to the second, and then even this. And that's the craziest thing. You could take 3 sample sizes and make him arguably a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's insane. I don't think we've seen a guy play as long as he has at the quality that he has.
Right. And not only another supermodel, but a ridiculously rich supermodel. Like, I don't even need my quarterback money. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why he was renegotiating all the time. He's like, I don't know, my wife's worth $500 million. What are you guys paying me? I don't know.
Hey, Scott, you know she's a twin, right?
I did not know that.
You got a shot.
I bet he's got confused on a couple of instances too. And I think never mind.
I love how Scott stopped as soon as I said she's a twin. He said,
"Is that it? Hey, Scott. If you ever decide to have a threesome, take Giselle's sister. Okay, that's because I guarantee you're ready."
I'm an equal opportunity employer.
Exactly. Let's go to Dave. Daly's from the New England area, and where would you rank Brady? Because you've seen so many great New England players, from Carl Yastrzemski to Bobby Orr. Where does he rank it? Where does he rank in your mind as far as the great players in the league and great players that played in New England?
Oh, I think he's number one. What he did, 22 years. The fact that he avoided injury, he was only really injured one time, seriously. And at the same time, too, he was a 6th round draft pick. And he literally walked in there. He was a hard worker. He came across, he's a little bit of a geek in some respects when you first saw him. He was kind of, he wasn't Bonds or Michael Jordan or Kobe or anybody like that. He was kind of a skinny, gawky geek, kind of a little bit like Joe Burrow right now. And yet he took those teams on his shoulder. And when you talk to some players who were teammates with him, they say he was the best teammate ever. Not only a good guy, but inspiring. and helpful. And a lot of guys love playing with him. So I think, great. There's a lot of great New England sports figures that were out there. Like you said, Yaz, Ted Williams. Ted Williams to me would probably be my second, I would say. But I think he's at the top. 22 years in the NFL. I mean, that's like playing 30 years in Major League Baseball. So, I think he's right at the top there.
I think
I had this
Brady
conversation
was so
with my son.
Not only that, when Brady, the one time he did get injured, right? The guy rolled out or hit the knee. They named the damn injury. They named the rule after him. Even when a guy gets hurt, he fucking steps in gold. Yeah, I don't even,
And they went 11-5 that year with Matt Castle. But my take on the whole thing is, and I'll make it. I was telling Max, my son, about this. Scott Henry, John Daly, myself. Hardison's a baby. I think we could agree that we've lived and watched these three athletes play, and they could be the greatest of their sports. We saw Michael Jordan play. I think the greatest basketball player of all time. I saw Wayne Gretzky play. You guys did too, the greatest hockey player of all time. I also saw Jerry Rice play, and he's right there with Tom Brady. So baseball is different because different generations, but I think we're fortunate that Tom Brady is in that conversation.
Yeah.
I just hope at his Hall of Fame ceremony, they play that 40-yard dash video that he has. God, it's sad. God, it's terrible.
Hey,
that's the only
go
time
back and look at his body.
That's the only time
look at his body. Go on YouTube. Look at his body at the combine. He's got those like the male breasts that have the hair sticking out of the nipples, but there's no definition to him. He has the worst body.
Have you ever seen a giraffe pop out of its mama and then try and stand? That's what fucking Brady looked like. He just stand there.
Hey, guys, real quick. We got a special guest. Let's bring a women's perspective in on this. John, take it away.
All right. That is my wife, Terry. We have big accolades from the family. My wife, Terry, she's joining us here. She coached a cheerleading squad. Well, first, sweetie, say hello to Scott. I don't think you've ever met Scott. I know you met Hardison. Say hello to them.
Hello. How are you, Scott?
I'm great. How you doing, Terry?
I'm good, thanks.
All right. So she coached a cheerleading squad from Fairland High School in Proctorville, Ohio, and they were just inducted into the school's Hall of Fame. In 1981, they were runner-up in the National High School Cheerleading Championship in Orlando. They were just inducted into the school's Hall of Fame. And there's some, and those are the girls today. And
look at this. Look at this great shot that we have of Terry. Wait, John.
And that's the induction. Terry couldn't be there because of the weather. And they brought Terry in on the screen so that she could be at that induction ceremony there.
That's awesome. So that's really cool.
That's great.
So, sweetie, tell them what it was like for you to go through that.
Oh, it was wonderful. I mean, these kids, as their coach at that time, I could ask them to do anything. I mean, the other thing is you have to realize they were against like modern day in California, Granada Hills, Bartlett, Tennessee. These are schools that have thousands of kids. And these girls go to this tiny little school and show up and really, as you guys would say, basically kicked a lot of their butts. And it was just so fun. And I could ask them to do anything. I always told them, I said, they're the little engine that could.
And you should actually talk about one of the winning moves that you guys did, because it's up on Facebook, and it's like, if I'm a parent, I'm like, you're gonna let my kid do that? I mean, it was unbelievable. Talk about getting them to do that. I mean, this was like professional acrobats.
I mean, if you really go and look at that and you think it's 40 years ago, you could think that some places today it could hold up. But what John was saying before is I got to see a lot of their parents, and they actually everybody came by and talked to me and everything. So I got to see some of them, and I know they thought I was nuts, and these kids were like, let's try this, let's try that. I'm like, oh my God. And here we did. And they put it together. They worked so hard. And at that time, I was coaching basketball also, and I did not know this, but that night, one of my basketball players was inducted into the Hall of Fame also. Her name was Brenda Dillon. So it was very cool. It was a great night.
So
That's
this
awesome.
couple, this Camelot couple, I've known them for about, I don't know, 20 years. But every time we have a guest on that knows Terry, I'm talking about Johnny Bench, Doug Flynn, Bryan Cranston, the actor, Richard Kind, the actor, John O'Hurley. They always say on the air, "How's Terry doing?" Even Camille the stripper said, "How's Terry doing?" I don't know about that one.
Did you coach her too? Did you coach her as well?
I'm joking.
She's got some
Now
pole
you see
moves. She
why
had
John's always
nothing
with
until
it.
I rolled in.
Yeah. So now you see Terry's more popular than John, and she definitely wears the pants in the family. But we see why John is so well rounded. He's got a hey, great wife, great life.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. Hardison, you got any betting questions for Terry?
My
I
biggest
do.
go ahead, man.
Go ahead. Yeah. What's the over and under? And how many years you're going to live with John? Silence.
Yeah. He's trying to figure it out.
That doesn't happen on this show usually. There's never silence.
Right.
So
Anyway, a lot of the girls are on the show watching you tonight, so I think you all should say hello to them and to congratulate them.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's right.
Pam
Carrollton High
Pam
School.
Carrico Meadors, Terry, Pam Carrico Meadors says thank you so much for all of us. Is that one of your
Oh,
players
that's
you coach?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got her. I got Mel Laurie Sansom. I got a lot of people. You know.
yeah.
Heidi Holliker says hi, Terry, and John Hardison's the best looking person on that show. You're damn right. Don't tell Daly that. You're damn right. Hardison, you're a stud, man. Scott, keep drinking.
Hey, listen, I got a question. I got to tell you something. Speaking of cheerleading, so I have a 4-year-old little girl, and I see this TikTok one day where and maybe you've seen this TikTok where this guy, he's got his daughter who's probably 9, and he's flipping her around doing all kinds of cheerleading stuff and everything like this. And I show that to my daughter to think she's going to be really kind of inspired by this. I wanted to show her, girls can do things. She looks at that, and when it was over, and I go, "What do you think of that?" And she goes, "We'll never do that." Just flat out, not going to happen. Nope, let's go bowling. That's not going to happen.
Well, dear, you got a student. Maybe you can inspire for Scott.
That's right. Yeah.
This is big cheerleading country here. University of Kentucky has.
That's right.
Well,
Yeah.
the people that won, the squad that won is Greenup County. And if, 30 on 30 that ESPN has, the
Yeah.
coach had been there so long and they had won so many years. ESPN did a whole thing on them.
Wow.
So they are a dynasty of high school cheerleading, unbelievable squad. And to even be put in the same sentence with them at that time was just incredible.
That's cool.
And to see
That's
the stuff they do. No, absolutely. All right. Hey, we got to wrap this up pretty soon. But before we say goodbye, we want to tell everybody we've got another show next week, and it's going to be with football great Ricky Williams. He's going to join us. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to also talk about all the other endeavors that Ricky's doing. Also, we're going to do it on a different day, though. It'll be Wednesday, February 9th at 5 p.m. Eastern and 2 p.m. Pacific. So we're going to go a day later and an hour earlier. So on Wednesday the 9th, 5 p.m. Eastern and 2 p.m. Pacific, right here on Daly Fish. And remember, Daly Fish is live from Vegas and Myrtle Beach, and catch us on Facebook, YouTube, and Roku. Also, Amazon Fire and DBA TV. Write to us at dailyfish1@gmail.com. Special thanks to Scott Henry for jumping in today. Thank you so much. That was great having you, buddy. We're going to have you on again. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. We didn't even talk about you. You got to do your announcement. Tell me your announcement.
Great. Yes, we just announced our new comedy network. It's called Big Comedy, and you can find us on socials at I Love Big Comedy, and or you can go to our website. It's bigcomedynetwork.com, and we're gonna have like streaming. We're gonna have podcasts. We're gonna do documentaries. We're gonna do all that kind of stuff. We have some really exciting partners. Legion M, I can tell you that one, and there's a few others, Marriott, and some other really big partnerships that we're working on. We can't announce them right now, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and we have so many, you know, we have so many stories we want to tell, and we have a lot of people that we really love, and we can't wait to have them on our network. So come and check it again. I love big comedies.
20 seconds, about 15 seconds left, Scott. Where do they go and find this?
You can go to I Love Big Comedy on our socials.
Nice.
And bigcomedynetwork.com is our website. And
right.
And then it's great. And we're gonna be opening a live venue soon.
Awesome.
So I can't wait to announce that. So really exciting. A lot of stuff going on.
All right. Scott, thanks. Hardison, thanks. And Sweetie, thank you so much. Boychik, I love you as well.
Hey, guys, this is great. Y'all everyone say bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you, Terry. Nice meeting you.
You too.